Tired of luxury cars that cost a fortune but don't feel worth it? You're not alone. And automakers definitely don't want you knowing about the 5 underrated luxury models that actually are smart buys. With used car prices cooling and depreciation hammering the fancy badges harder than ever, this is the perfect moment to grab real luxury without the pain. The first car automakers quietly wish you'd ignore is the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, first generation, built from 2017 to 2020. And the reason is simple. This thing delivers way more luxury and performance than its resale value suggests. When a model drops hard in depreciation, buyers start waking up and thinking, wait, I can get this much car for that little money? Manufacturers hate that moment because the used market suddenly becomes a better value than buying new. The Stelvio is the perfect example. You're getting an Italian luxury SUV with a 2-liter turbo 4, punching out about 280 horsepower, an 8-speed automatic that shifts like it's reading your mind, and either rear-wheel or Q4 all-wheel drive that makes the whole thing feel lighter than it should. It's quick, it's sharp, and it gives you that rare sensation of actually driving something instead of floating around in another beige luxury appliance. And with fuel economy around 25 miles per gallon combined, it doesn't punish your wallet like you'd expect from a sporty premium SUV. But here's why it ends up on a list like this. People fear the badge. They hear Alfa Romeo and instantly think breakdowns. So new buyers flee to safer names. Meanwhile, used buyers get a gem for the price of a mainstream crossover. Yes, the early 2017 builds had some electronic gremlins and trim quirks, so you want proper service history, software updates confirmed, and no strange noises from the AWD system if equipped. But once you filter out the neglected ones, the 2019 and 2020 models are absolutely worth it. Better interior, smoother tech, fewer headaches. Right now, you can usually snag one in the low to mid $30,000 range, which is absurd considering the style, power, and road feel you're getting. This is exactly the kind of car a brand doesn't want you grabbing used, because once you do, you start wondering why anyone buys these things new. And if you think this one already bends the luxury value equation, wait until the next car, an American sports sedan that proves you don't need a German badge to feel like a boss. Ready for it? Now, let's talk about the luxury sedan that quietly embarrasses its German rivals. And that's exactly why automakers don't want you digging into it, the Cadillac CT5. When it arrived around 2020, most people shrugged because they were used to Cadillac being your uncle's brand. But underneath that old reputation sits a legitimately brilliant sports sedan that punches way above its price, especially in the used market, where the numbers drop faster than anyone at Cadillac would like you to notice. Here's why it's such a threat to the usual luxury suspects. The CT5 drives like a proper rear-drive sports sedan, the kind we keep saying don't exist anymore. The base engine is a 2-liter turbo 4 with around 237 horsepower, and the upgrade is the 3-liter twin-turbo V6 with well over 300 horsepower, both tied to a 10-speed automatic that shifts clean and keeps the power band alive. It feels planted, smooth, and shockingly balanced for something that sells for way less than a comparable German badge. Fuel economy sits in the mid-20s depending on configuration, which is respectable for a sedan this size. The ideal buyer is the driver who wants luxury without the pretentious fluff. Someone who likes the idea of a BMW 3 Series or Audi A4, but wants more car for less money. Inside, the CT5 is comfortable, clean, and surprisingly refined in the early years, even if not as flashy as its rivals. And that's part of the reason it ends up overlooked. Shoppers assume entry Cadillac means outdated, but in reality you're getting adaptive suspension, strong safety tech, and a chassis engineered to actually be fun. Now, automakers don't love when cars like this hit the used market, because depreciation exposes the truth. You can get a genuinely premium sedan for a fraction of the new car price. The CT5 drops quickly in its first years, which means you can often find early low-mileage examples in the $30,000 range, sometimes less, and that undercuts nearly every German competitor with similar performance. As for issues, the big one is early electronic glitches and the occasional transmission calibration quirk, so you want to check for smooth shifts, updated software, and clean service history. If it's the V6, check for proper oil change intervals. Turbo engines hate neglect. Get a cared-for one, and you're driving a luxury sleeper that feels far more expensive than the badge suggests. What about you giving us that sneaky subscription and like friends? This helps a lot. And tell me the city you are watching from. And if you like a sedan that delivers more value than marketing, the next pick takes that idea and wraps it in bulletproof Japanese reliability, the Lexus way. Ready to jump in? If there's one luxury SUV automakers really wish you'd stop buying used, it's the Lexus RX350 from the 4th generation, built from 2016 through 2020. Why? Because this thing exposes the luxury market's biggest secret. Most premium SUVs spend their lives trying to look expensive, while the RX350 quietly delivers comfort, reliability, and long-term value that destroy anything in its price bracket. Every time a buyer realizes they can get a used RX that still feels brand new, a dealer somewhere loses an easy new car sale. The formula is classic Lexus. A smooth 3.5-liter V6 making around 290 horsepower, paired with an 8-speed automatic and either front-wheel or all-wheel drive. No turbos, no drama, just buttery power delivery and the kind of refinement you only get when an engine doesn't need to prove anything. Fuel economy sits around the mid-20s, which is impressive for something this comfortable. And speaking of comfort, the interior is peak Lexus of this era. Soft, quiet, overbuilt, and designed to outlive you. It's the kind of cabin that still feels premium even after years of daily use, which is exactly what spooks other luxury brands. The ideal buyer is someone who wants peace of mind without giving up luxury. Families, commuters, or anyone tired of surprise repair bills from over-engineered turbo SUVs. Because here's the twist. The RX350 barely brakes. Sure, you might see minor suspension wear, infotainment quirks, or aging bushings around the 100,000-mile mark, but compared to European rivals, those are mosquito bites. Just check for regular oil changes, clean coolant history, and smooth shifting from the 8-speed. If it's been cared for, this SUV is almost unfairly reliable. Depreciation on these is shallow, but that's exactly why automakers hate seeing them on lists like this. A 4-year-old RX often drives almost identically to a new one, which means a smart buyer can grab a 2018 to 2020 model in the high $30,000 range and avoid paying luxury badge premiums. It's the definition of buy once, enjoy forever, and that's the last thing new car sales teams want spreading around. And if you think Lexus plays it too safe, just wait. The next car brings back the sporty feel, the coupe SUV silhouette, and a badge everyone recognizes instantly. Now we get to the BMW X4, the coupe-style SUV that quietly became one of the smartest luxury buys on the used market, and that's exactly why automakers don't want you paying attention to it. The first generation, which ran from 2014 to 2020, hits this weird sweet spot. It still looks modern, still drives like a proper BMW, and yet drops in value just enough to make buyers question why they'd ever pay full price for something new. When a used model does the job this well, it threatens the entire upgrade every 3 years business model. Under the hood, depending on trim, you'll find BMW's 2-liter Turbo 4 with around 240 horsepower, or the 3-liter Turbo Inline 6, making well over 300 horsepower, both paired with the 8-speed automatic that BMW practically perfected. All-wheel drive is standard on most trims, and fuel economy sits in the low to mid-20s, which is respectable for a sporty luxury crossover. What makes the X4 special is how it handles. Even the base engines feel punchy, the steering is tight, and despite the coupe roofline, it never loses that classic BMW lean in, trust me attitude. The ideal buyer? Someone who wants luxury but doesn't want to look like they're driving the same SUV as every neighbor on the street. Someone who wants a bit of personality, and maybe a bit of speed, without the maintenance roulette of some European rivals. And that's where the X4 surprises people. Yes, it's a BMW, so maintenance isn't cheap, but the engines in this era are far more stable than the older generations. The key is inspection. You check for oil leaks around the valve cover, smooth shifts from the 8-speed healthy cooling system behavior, and no odd turbo noises. Take 10 minutes to verify those and your ownership experience gets a lot easier. Depreciation is the part automakers hate. A well-spec'd 2017 to 2020 X4 often lands in the mid-$30,000 range, massively undercutting new luxury SUVs that don't drive nearly as well. Buyers start connecting the dots. If this feels this good used, why would I buy the new one? And that's exactly the kind of question luxury brands do not want circulating. But if the X4 gives you the sporty luxury combo, the next car adds something manufacturers hate even more: incredible value, wrapped in near flagship refinement. Get ready. And now we land on the luxury sedan that genuinely keeps automakers up at night. The Genesis G80, first generation, from 2015 to 2020. This is the car that proves you don't need a $100,000 German badge to feel like you're gliding around in first class. And that's exactly the issue. When a newcomer delivers flagship-level comfort, V6 power, rock-solid reliability, and a price that undercuts the whole segment, it threatens the entire luxury playbook. The G80 isn't underrated, it's dangerous to the status quo. Inside, it feels like someone took all the complaints people had about expensive European sedans and simply fixed them. Soft leather, quiet cabin, a suspension that absorbs bad roads like it's doing you a personal favor. It's luxury without the ego. Under the hood, you'll find either the 3.8-liter V6, making around 311 horsepower, or the monster 5-liter V8 with more than 400 horsepower. Both engines pair with an 8-speed automatic and deliver a surprisingly refined, effortless pull. Fuel economy sits in the low 20s for the V6 and drops a bit with the V8, but honestly, buyers of this car don't usually complain about fuel bills. They're too busy enjoying the comfort. And here's where automakers really panic. Depreciation on the G80 is steep, not because the car is bad, but because the badge was new. That means smart buyers can walk in today and grab a 2018 to 2020 model in the high $20,000 to mid $30,000 range, depending on mileage. For the level of craftsmanship you're getting, that's ridiculous. It creates a value gap so big that it makes other sedans look like overpriced fashion accessories. Issues? Very few. The drivetrain is famously reliable, especially the V6. What you do check is suspension wear on higher mileage cars, infotainment responsiveness on early build years, and signs of neglected maintenance. These engines like regular oil changes. If everything checks out, the G80 becomes one of the safest long-term luxury bets you can buy. And that wraps it up: 5 luxury cars the industry would rather you never discover, all offering real comfort, real performance, and way more value than their price suggests. If you want more smart picks that save you money and still feel premium, check out the next video on your screen. See you there.